Okay, guys, so we're still going to use time today to give you guys some practice with the ACT, even though I'm not there. I want you to get that packet out that I gave you a day ago. If you were in fifth hour, you already have this. It's that blank sheet, and we got through one passage together. If you're in my eighth hour, we did not get to this, and the sub is probably going to push pause right now and then hand that out. Okay, so we'll have to get that out to you for eighth hour. So ACT, you guys are going to be taking the ACT juniors March 9th. We've kind of already talked about how, I get that it's being used less. This, even for you juniors who are going to be seniors, it's going to be used less for admittance into a lot of colleges, not all colleges. But what I found as a parent of a senior this year is it's still getting used for scholarships. Whether you're going to private school scholarships, public school scholarships, it's still getting used for that. Whenever I first started to try to help people with the ACT, I didn't know how to help. Like it was rough. And I feel like I'm getting to a point where I can give you some really good pointers. And having gone through it enough with kids now, I'm getting feedback that some of the things that you've heard has actually helped. If you hear other ideas, let me know. Here's some things you have to realize though. If I got to give my own opinion about the ACT, I hate it. I don't want it to define you. And I'm so worried that kids think, wow, I don't know what you call good in your world, but I'll be honest with you. I never would have gotten into University of Michigan and graduated from there with the ACT scores that they require now. There's no way. Madison might have been a long stretch. It has changed a lot. And the end all of this is it is literally a predictor for how good you're going to do your first semester of your freshman year in college. They want, and it's really the likelihood that you're going to have a B GPA or higher that first semester, because no college wants to give a report of dropout rates. That's what this is. It's not a definer of if you don't do well, you'll never be successful. And you have to remember that. One of my favorite stories is I had a kid that came in here that I had taught in science. He was in medical school at the time, and just a confident kid. And I should not call him a kid because at that point he was, I don't know, like 24 years old or something. And he said to the students, he goes, I want you guys to guess what I got in the ACT. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're like you're literally in medical school right now. You had to have gotten like a 31 or 32 or 28. And he goes, I got a 25. And I know 25 is good. Like, I know it's good, but I don't know if a 25 would get you into Madison anymore. It's crazy sometimes with that. So here's a kid, a student that did not get that 30. And look at that student. He's now in medicine. I mean, he just went off to Seattle and he's practicing there. Like, it's just so don't let it completely define your future. Is it tough? Yeah, it definitely is tough. So science, we have 40 minutes to do this. It's 35 minutes is all you're given. 35 minutes to do this, and it's 40 questions. So 35 minutes is the science part, 40 questions. You have to pace yourself. There tends to be either 6 passages or 7. We're going to assume that there's 7 passages. Okay, so in 7 passages, you give yourself 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes per passage. It does not get progressively harder. Okay, you might find that the very last passage was the one where you're like, I've got this. So you don't think, wow, it's going to be easy. And then the last 2 passages are going to kick my butt. If you don't pace yourself, those last 2 passages could have been the 10 questions that you needed to get to the next level. They do not expect you guys to be amazing. 60 to 70% accuracy, you're into the 30s. Okay, so you got to think like that. They are not, you guys are kids that you want to get every single question right. They're not expecting you to get every single question right. Okay, it is not knowledge-based. It feels better if you have familiarity with it, but it's not knowledge-based. It really boils down, for the most part, like I think there's starting to be a change in the testing, but almost always all the passages are a group of tables, a group of whether it's graphs or tables, and then they tend to throw one passage in there that is all article reading. Okay, and I feel like that's changing. Like I actually have the one that my one daughter took last year, not with the high school, I don't think. I think this is one she did on her own. And I was skimming through it, and this is all data table reading. Okay, I used to say to kids, don't mess with looking at the passages. Start with the questions right away. I don't like that advice anymore. I think it's important to skim. Okay, don't go in crazy detail. You're not close reading. You think, I got 5 minutes to answer 6 questions basically, and then I got to move on. So you get less than a minute per question. Skim the tables, get a feel for the tables. Understand what's being asked, skim the paragraph a little bit, and then get to the question. You get to mark this thing up. So underline, circle, whatever you have to with the questions to help your brain. Like a lot of times they're nitpicking details. Okay, so and sometimes you might even have to look at 2 different tables to answer the questions. But, do those different types of things. So what we're going to do today, and 8th hour, you're going to skip ahead with this because 8th hour, I must have talked fast the other day with my 6th hour, and they already did the very first passage in this packet, which is passage number 1. So again, the sub has handed out to you now this packet. Don't go ahead. The other thing is, you guys, it's truly, don't go ahead. Like, don't go, I want to do some more at home. No, go outside and throw a snowball at somebody at home. Wait until we're doing this together in class. All right. So whenever we're ready, and your teacher, the sub, is going to help with this, you're going to skip. So 8th hour, you're not doing passage 1. We're going to start with passage 2. And the sub is going to set the timer for 5 minutes. We're going to get going. 5 minutes for passage 2. And then he's going to read, or she is going to read, the correct answers to passage 2. Then you're going to talk with each other, kind of like what we did 5th hour the other day. You're going to, once you see the correct answers, you have to process these things. You got to be comfortable with saying, I had no clue how to do the 3rd question. Like, it is not a definition of your intelligence level. I know very, very smart people that have gotten over 30s on the ACT and they flunk out of college because they don't know how to work. If you were to ask me what's going to get you into college, it's knowing how to work hard. What's going to keep you in college is continuing to know how to study. All right, this just gets you into college. How are you going to stay in there? You know your study skills, okay? But we got to get this to get those scholarships and everything else that we're hoping to get. So you've got to be vulnerable. After you get the answer keys, so 5 minutes, take it, answer key, you have to be vulnerable. Get with a partner. Somebody help me. How did you figure out number 3? Talk it out. I can't even figure, what are they saying? Don't let yourself get wrapped up in the vocabulary. You're not, be prepared for the fact you have no clue what's being asked here. Like titration, do you know what that is? No. Do you know what emission spectrum absorption is? Maybe, if you were listening a couple units ago. Maybe they're going to be talking about something with earth science. Who cares? It's not about the content. It's about the ability to read graphs, tables, and pick for information, glean for information. So I'm going to stop. Sub is going to set the timer. You're going to do passage 2. So you're skipping ahead 8th hour, passage 2, 5 minutes. Then he's going to give you the correct answers. Then we're going to come back on. Okay.